AFC North predictions. It took me a while, but we're finally here. Finishing off the AFC. We're not a very good work rate. But, I don't even know what the intro is. Let's just get straight into this. I'm tired. All right. So first up, we got the Cleveland Browns. I guess what should be mentioned first off is that Deshaun Watson's suspension is in play here. I know he hasn't technically been suspended yet, but I think it's pretty obvious he's going to get suspended. For how long? We don't know. It could be 6 games, it could be 8 games, it could be 10. I'd like to bet, though, it's probably going to be the whole season. However, I'm going to go with the assumption that it's 8 games at the moment. So, with that in mind, let's start off with the Carolina Panthers. They go on the road. This should be a pretty easy win for them. It doesn't matter who's really starting at quarterback because, they always run the ball anyways. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. It doesn't really matter. I don't know if it's going to be Baker Mayfield back there or Jacoby Brissett, but regardless, it doesn't really matter. The Panthers are not good. Their defense is okay, but their offense is not very good at all. Then they got the Jets at home. Once again, should be a pretty easy win. The Jets are not very good as well, although I do think they're a little underrated. They had a really good draft, but they're still the Jets. And the Browns, I guess you could say they're the Browns, in which case you'd be correct, but I don't know. Browns have been better as of recent. Then they go on. Then they come back home again to play against my Steelers. I think it's been pretty obvious I'm a Steelers fan. I made that clear in the other videos. They're gonna win. I hate the Browns. Okay, I hate the Browns the most out of the 3 teams. I respect the Ravens. I don't like the Bengals, but I hate the freaking Browns. Screw the Browns. They win one playoff game and all of a sudden they think they're better than us. But I think we all know that that's not the case. Next up, they got the Falcons on the road. Once again, that should be a win. The Falcons are not going to be very good. Who knows who the starting QB is going to be? It could be Marcus Mariota. It could be Desmond Ridder. I don't know. But one thing I do know is they're going to win this game. They're starting off 4-0. This without Deshaun Watson, by the way. Keep that in mind. And then they have a tough stretch. Oh, my goodness. Tough stretch of games here. First off, against the Chargers at home. I think that's a loss. The Chargers are a very good team. And considering that the Browns have already been 4-0 by this point, what the only game that they probably lose will be to the Steelers, there's no way they're going to be starting 5-0. There's just no way. I think I've said this before in previous videos, how I believe in streaks. How a team, if they get on a really big streak when they're not supposed to, they're going to go on a big streak of losing. You're about to see that in a second. They got the Patriots at home. The Patriots are a good team. They're not a Super Bowl contender. They lost a lot this offseason. They didn't gain enough, and they had a strange draft. No pun intended. But I think the Patriots are going to get the win here. The Browns, if they had Deshaun Watson, I'd probably pick the Browns here, but Deshaun Watson not playing is a very big deal. Then they got the Ravens on the road. Absolutely no shot. If it was at home, maybe, but even still, I struggle giving them a win at home, but maybe. You never know. With Deshaun Watson, anything can happen. He's a really good QB. Off the field stuff is completely different, though. Bengals, they got the Bengals at home after that they could definitely win that game because it's at home. But, as I said before, how I believe in streaks, I think the streak continues here with the loss because the Bengals are just really good. They're not like... People forget, too, they didn't really... Even though they made the Super Bowl last year, they actually only won 10 games. So... I don't think the Bengals are going to be insane in terms of regular season record, but I do think they're going to do really good against the division. AFC North is like, by far, AFC North has historically been the toughest division. This year, it's the second toughest. Obviously, the AFC West. I don't know how you can't go into the season thinking that it's the best division, but it's always a dogfight. Always a dogfight between the teams. You never know who's going to win. It doesn't matter how bad the team is. They can always win. They always got a shot because it's the AFC North, and that's just how we work. Then they got the bye week, and coming out of the bye week, they will finally have Deshaun Watson back. And ironically, it's going to be against the team that passed on him for Tua, in terms of trading for him at least, the Dolphins. And I think Deshaun Watson is going to come out and he's going to spank the Dolphins. Although I think the Dolphins are a very good team, I think Deshaun Watson is going to come out with a lot of vengeance. Of course, with everything that's been happening with him right now. You don't have to like him off the field, but strictly football, he's extremely talented. One of the best QBs in the league for sure. So I think they're going to get the win there. However, Even though he's one of the best QBs in the league, he goes up against the best QB in the league, in my opinion, with Josh Allen on the road. Absolutely no shot. I'm not even going to try and give the Browns a chance here because the Bills are just too freaking good, and because it's on the road, too. Absolutely not. I do not see them winning on the road. If it was at home, still would pick the Bills, but I would give them a 90%. I'd give them a 90% chance of losing the game rather than a 99. So basically, you're not really getting much there. Then they got the Buccaneers at home. They could definitely win this game. It'll be tough. Both very good teams. Gronk's not there. But I think they're going to lose there because the Bucs are just really talented. I feel like they match up well against the Browns. They're decent. They're pretty good at stopping the run. Vita Vea is a monster. So I think they'll be able to slow them down enough to be able to get the win there. And then they got the Texans on the road. Not really going to spend time on that. It's the Texans. And then the Bengals on the road after that. I'm going to give the Browns the win here mainly because it's just going back to the AFC North thing. It's just the AFC North. You don't often see sweeps unless you're the Steelers sweeping the Ravens the last couple of years. Shots fired. But with the Browns and the Bengals, they usually do split. Last year, I believe they split. They usually split. So I'm going to give them the split there. And then they got the Ravens at home. Continuing with splits, I think they're going to get the win there and split against the Ravens. The Browns are still a very talented team. I don't doubt that they're a good team. It's just that they're not good enough to win a bunch of games. 10 games is a good amount, but it's not like, top of the conference or anything like that. It's good, but it's nothing special. It's all right. Then they got the Saints at home. This should be a good game, actually. Jarvis Landry going to the Saints, it should be a nice revenge game for them. I think the Browns come out with the win, though. The Saints, I think, are okay. They're not bad, but they're just kind of mediocre. That's when I look at that team, I think mid. So I think the Browns should be able to get the win there. And then they got the Commanders on the road. Once again, another team I think is mid. They should be able to beat them. The Commanders are not very good. They did just lock up Terry McLaurin on his extension, but they had a bad draft. They didn't really do much in the offseason. Yeah. It's not going well for the Commanders right now. And on top, of course, the actual name change itself. Like, Commanders, come on. Who come up with that? A 5-year-old? And then they got the Steelers on the road. Splits. Steelers win that game. It's in Pittsburgh, too. The Browns don't usually play well in Pittsburgh unless it's a playoff game in Big Ben's second to last season, in which case the Browns play terrific. So overall, this should get them to a record prediction of my prediction around 10-7. If you want to go based off of best case scenario here, you could give them a win against the Bucs and a sweep against the Steelers and a win against the Patriots. So that'd be about 13-4. I know on paper this looks bad. Oh, they're 10-7. They have Deshaun Watson. How could you say that? But if you look at it this way, with Deshaun Watson, they're 6-3. Without him, they're 4-4. So look at it that way, and it's a lot better. The Browns, it just depends who's starting at QB. Honestly, if Baker Mayfield's starting or Jacoby Brissett, it just depends. I highly doubt Baker's going to start because they kind of mistreated him really badly. But we will see. Moving on. We got the Bengals next. All right. Bengals. I like what they did this offseason. They got Lyle Collins, Alex Kappa in free agency to bolster the offensive line. Daxton Hill to help with the secondary. And they also got Hayden Hurst as well as a backup tight end. So that's good for them. It's good pickups. Come building off of an already good team. They didn't really lose much as far as I know. So they should be pretty good this season. Let's get started with the Bengals. First game they got is at home against the Steelers. Should be a good game, but I think they're going to get the win there. Bengals, I don't think they're going to start off 0-1. They spanked us last year. I hated watching Bengals games or games against the Bengals. I don't remember what week it was, but it was the second time we played them, and I was like, this is going to be the time we get them. No, I forgot how bad the blowout was, but it was pretty bad. I hope we can get a win this year, but we're definitely not going to get a win if we won. Then we got the Cowboys. Then they got the Cowboys on the road here. Should be a very good game. The Cowboys are very talented. Mike McCarthy's a main coach, but that's okay. The Bengals obviously match up very well against them. I feel like their run game is amazing, just like mainly even though it is one running back versus two running backs with the Cowboys. It should be a good game, but I think they should get the win there. I could definitely see the Cowboys winning it. It's a 50-50. You know, I don't really care who you think is going to win that one. It should be a very good game, especially early on in the season. Teams are either fluky, some teams are fake, some teams are better than others. You never know. Then they got the Jets on the road. They did beat them last year. Although I'm giving the Bengals the win here, they did beat them last year. So don't sleep on the Jets. Sleep on the Jets. Bet all your money on the Bengals. Then they got the Dolphins at home here. Should be a very good game. It's tough. It could go either way. I think they'll get the win. Streaks. I'm a big believer in streaks. You're going to see that right here once again. Then they got the Ravens on the road. Loss. It's the Ravens. The Ravens are a very talented team. They're one of the top teams in the AFC. Probably going to win the AFC North. It's actually amazing how they won 8 games last year despite all the injuries they had. Basically, everybody was on IR. I don't know if someone messed with the voodoo doll or something, but something bad happened. Some curse fell upon them. The 2018, I believe, 2018 49ers curse fell on them. Then they got those Saints on the road. Once again, a mediocre team, but you got to remember that streaks. I'm going to keep saying that for the rest of the video, streaks. The Saints, also, although I said they're mediocre teams can sometimes win. The Steelers last year were mediocre. We beat the Titans, #1 seed in the AFC, without Derrick Henry. But a bunch of other teams beat them without Derrick Henry, or not a bunch, but you know what I'm saying. So they should be able to win that game there. I don't think the Bengals will start off 5-1. I feel like that's way too good for them to start out. So I think the Saints will get the win there. And then they got the Falcons at home. I can't defend that. There's no way they're going to lose it. I don't care about streaks. They're not going to lose to the Falcons. It's the Falcons. And then they got the Browns on the road. It's without Deshaun Watson, so they should be able to win. We just discussed that in the last one, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. And then they got the Panthers at home. It's Battle of the Cats, although one of them is a kitten and the other one is a big Bengal tiger, which is, of course, the Bengals. So they're going to get mauled to death because the Panthers are awful. And Sam Darnold thinks he's going to be a good QB. And if he really thinks that, he should go to see a doctor because I don't know what's wrong with that guy. I believe in him, too. I'm the biggest Sam Darnold hater. I actually loved Sam Darnold for a long time, including last year before going into the season. But not anymore. Nope. Dude's seeing ghosts. Can't help him. Then they got the Steelers on the road. I think we're going to get a win, all right? Is it partial bias? Just a little bit, because I don't want to get swept by them again. But also, it's the AFC North. I'm going to keep using that excuse. Unless you're a fan of any of these teams, or you really understand football and watch it like I do, you'll understand my justification for this, and that no matter who is on the roster, as long as those two teams are playing against each other, either one can win. It does not matter. Bengals did it against the Steelers a while back. Steelers did it against the Ravens multiple times, and usually against the Bengals, except for recently. And of course, the Browns beating the Steelers in 2020. So, yeah, it's just the AFC North. It's just how we work. And then they got the Titans on the road. This should be a very good game. Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't know who to pick here. I guess we'll find out. It's Bengals. Yeah, I pre-make all this, so sometimes I forget. But we got the Bengals with the win here. This could go either way, and that's why whenever I come across games like this, I always struggle so much because, of course, I do pre-make these. And I honestly kind of want to go back on it, but I'm not going to because I could see why the Bengals would win. Their offense is definitely better, even though Derrick Henry is there. I think that's the main reason why they would win this game is because Derrick Henry is kind of mostly the offense on the Titans. Ryan Tannehill just came off of his worst season with the Titans. He's shown that without Derrick Henry, he isn't that good. Sorry about that. So, I don't know. I think the Bengals their defense is very underrated. They had a good year last year. Daxton Hill, of course, is a great addition. I think he's going to be amazing. I think he's going to be a stud. Usually, corners and safeties and things like that play pretty good in their rookie season. Not all the time, but for some reason, the freaking end of the draft people always play really good, or end of the first round, excuse me. So I think they should be able to get the win there. I think it could be a nice little X factor there. And then we got the Chiefs at home. Once again, it should be a very good game. I think the Chiefs are going to win that one. I didn't really have to think too much about that one because the Chiefs are still a good team, and I know I had them going 10-7, but they're still good enough to beat any team in the league. Patrick Mahomes is that genius, so it is what it is. And then they got the Browns. We already said who's going to lose that, who win that game, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'm not going to spend as much time on matchups like that when we've already discussed them. So keep that in mind for the rest of the division videos as well. Then we got the Buccaneers on the road. This should be a very good game. They got a wow, they had a tough stretch at the end of the season. I think they'll get the W because I don't think they're going to go 0-4 against the stretch of teams. Of course, they had. Actually, if you look at the second half of the season after the bye week, every single team is tough. Steelers, Titans, Chiefs, Browns, Bucks, Patriots. Wow, tough stretch. So they're gonna definitely lose against some of these teams, but they did. They're gonna get a win set. They're gonna get their wins in. They're gonna get their punches in. Then they got the Patriots on the road. Should be a good game once again. I think they'll win it though, because the Patriots, as I said before, are a decent team. They could beat the other playoff teams, but at the same time, I don't believe in the defense enough. J.C. Jackson leaving is a lot. The offense is pretty mid outside of the running backs, and Mac Jones is good, but the wide receiver room is kind of lacking. I know they did trade for Devontae Parker, but he hasn't had a good season in a little while now. I believe it was 2019 when he had his 1,000-yard year. That was 3 years ago. So, yeah. Then they got the Bills at home. I think the Bills are going to beat them there, even though the Bills will probably have locked up the AFC by that point. The Bills should be starting their players for a game like that. And then they got the Ravens at home to end the season. Should be a win because I think it's going to be a split. You know how I roll. And with that, they should probably go to a record of about 11-6. Yeah, a little bit better than last season. If we're talking about best case scenario, I think a win against the Saints and Chiefs probably. So probably 13-4. Worst case scenario, I should have put this for the Browns too. Get swept by both the AFC North teams, so the Steelers and the Steelers, Browns, and the Ravens. So adding 3 losses to that record, and as well as a loss to the Patriots and Bucks. So you could be seeing somewhere around like 5-12 or something like that. But I highly doubt that. I put that floor there just because those are tough teams that can definitely lose matchups against. Every other one I think is fine. Or you could also argue for the Cowboys too, but they're definitely going to beat some good teams. I don't think they're going to start out and be awful. So let's move on next, which is the Ravens. Ravens, I love their draft. Let's just get that straight. Their draft, Tyler Linderbaum, Kyle Hamilton, great draft for them. They were just super injured last year too. That's the thing. They didn't even need that many additions. They were just injured. And now they have what you see here. On top of the team they already had that was injured. Good luck stopping them. First up against the Jets. Then they got the Dolphins at home. I think the Dolphins match up very well against the Ravens. And so for that, I'm going to give the Dolphins the win. I think the Ravens is going to be the team who doesn't come out on a hot streak, but you'll see later on. Then they got the Patriots on the road. It should be a good game. Patriots are solid, but they're going to win that game. It's the Patriots. The Ravens are the Ravens. The Patriots are the Patriots. What do you want me to do? Then you got a Titan matchup here against the Bills at home. Wow, this is going to be an amazing game. And I don't remember what I put here, but I'm going to justify it after we see. As a win, the Ravens and the Bills, honestly, it's hard coming up with a justification because I feel like everybody knows how good these teams are. The Ravens have an amazing run game. Pass game is not as good, but could potentially be better next season. And the Bills have the better all-around team. But the Ravens have Lamar Jackson, who, just like Josh Allen, can make anything happen. And Mark Andrews, who was one of the best tight ends, if not the best tight end last season. I don't think he was the best tight end, but he was definitely somewhere around there. So it's just a Titan matchup. When 2 Titans like that battle, you can pick either one to win. I don't think you really need much of a justification for that. Then they got the Bengals at home. I think they'll be able to get that win there. Already discussed that. Giants. It's the freaking Giants. Browns. Already discussed that as well. They're going to be able to win. So notice how I said when they say they're not going to start out hot. Obviously they're starting out hot, but what I meant by that was they're not going to start off like the other 2 teams, where they're going to start off 4-0 and then lose a bunch of games. They're going to start out, decent, 2-1, and then go on a big streak. Then they got the Bucks on the road. Should be a loss there. I think by this point, they'll have had some tough games against the Bills, the Patriots, and the Bengals. All wins, by the way. You want to throw the Browns in there too, I guess. So they're going to lose eventually. They're going to have to lose that game because I feel like they'll be a little fatigued, and also just because the Buccaneers are a very good team. So should be a good matchup. Then they got the Saints on the road. Mediocre team, but not good enough to beat the Ravens. And then they got their bye week. Panthers on the road, or excuse me, at home. Should be a win. Jaguars should be a win. Broncos should be a good game. Oh, man, what did I put here? A win, okay. Yeah. I definitely agree with that, now that I think about it. Because to me, the Ravens are probably the second or third best team in the AFC. And unlike the Broncos, they are a lot more established already because the Broncos, of course, just getting Russell Wilson. We haven't seen them play together yet. We don't know how they're going to be. For all we know, they could suck. I don't think they're going to suck, but they could maybe. The Ravens are already established. They just have injury-prone here, so that's the main reason they didn't play as well. Steelers on the road. Ravens and Steelers, always really good. I think they're going to lose that because it's in Pittsburgh. Don't worry, I'm not having the Steelers sweep the Ravens. Even though we swept the Ravens the last couple of years, they haven't beat it since 2019. So, yeah. And they got the Browns on the road. Already discussed that. And then the Falcons at home, once again, should be a pretty easy win. And as I said before with the Steelers, should be a win. And then they got the Bengals after beating them the first time. They've already locked up their spot in the playoffs. They've already locked up the division for that matter. So they should be able to just chillax right here in this game and not have to worry. And they'll lose that one and having all their backups in. Much like last season. And they'll finish with a record of about 11-5, or excuse me, 12-5. They're going to be really good next year. Don't sleep on the Ravens. I think most people know that the Ravens are going to be amazing next year. I think all of us have pretty much acknowledged that they were just injured, but some people aren't the brightest, so they think that the Ravens will not be good. And although I don't like the Ravens, I respect them a lot. They're definitely my most respected team, by far, even though I'm a Steelers fan. So, yeah. Speaking of my Steelers, last team, Steelers. I wanted to say this was the list because everyone's gonna instantly say I'm biased. I just want to say that just a quick spoiler. I'm kidding. Or am I? No, I'm not kidding. We're gonna lose week 1. Yeah, no. We're not that good. We're okay. I think Mike Tomlin is the main reason I have us going with the record that we're gonna have. Because Mike Tomlin is such an excellent coach. He makes anything work, and everybody respects him. Everybody knows who he is. Everyone loves Mike Tomlin. So I think he's enough in and of himself with the roster we already have. Because it's not even that bad of a roster. It's just not championship level or top tier AFC level, for that matter. So, given a decent to mid roster with Mike Tomlin, I think that equals a good team. Not an amazing team, but a good team. And they got the Patriots at home. Should be a good game. I think we actually match up very well against the Patriots. It's probably a hot take that we beat the Patriots, but I don't think they're very good. I think the Patriots are okay. They're around our level. So, yeah. I think we had a great draft. George Pickens, Calvin Austin, love those guys. Helped on the offensive line. James Daniels was great last year. Got Miles Jack, who has kind of lost a step a little bit, but we know how good he can be when he's at his best. So, love that signing as well. And Levi Wallace. Browns, already discussed that first one's a loss. Then we got the Jets. Last time we played them, we lost, and I was so upset because I believe that was the year we played against Le'Veon Bell. Not this time, though. I don't care who's starting. Not this time. Then we got the Bills on the road. We beat them last year, so that's my argument for why we could win this game. But let's be real here. We're probably going to get beaten by 73 and lose to the Bills right there because the Bills are the Bills and we're the Steelers. And they would stomp on us like gum. Don't stomp on gum. Then we got the Bucks at home. Don't match up very well against them, so we're probably going to lose that one. And then the Dolphins on the road also don't match up pretty well against them. Probably going to lose that one. And then we got a game where we probably also don't match up very well. But I think we're going to get the win here. Okay? Hear me out. I don't have much to say. Okay, I just don't think we're going to go 3-5. What is it? Yeah, I don't think we're going to start out 2-6. I think 3-5 is a lot more realistic than 2-6 to start the first half of the season. So that's the main reason I'm picking that there. I do believe in streaks. I do believe in first half season records and things like that. So I don't think we're gonna start out the season 3-6, or excuse me, 2-6. Then we got the Saints at home. Should be a very good team or game. Mediocre versus mediocre. Who's gonna win? Who's more mid? Is basically the question here. I think it's the Saints. Not by much though. Mainly because we're at home. Then we got the Bengals at home. I think we're gonna win that one too because we split. It's AFC North. And then we got the Colts on the road. Jonathan Taylor is going to run all over us. I'm so scared. I don't even know if I want to watch that game. I might need to go to some like cryotherapy or something. We're gonna need therapy after this game because he's going to run for 444 yards. You heard it here first. When he does that, come back to this video and tag it. Then we got the Falcons on the road. The Falcons are not good. We should be able to win that game. So, not much to say there. And then the Ravens at home. I think we'll be able to win that one because it's at home, and we always play well against the Ravens because AFC North. Then we got the Panthers on the road. We should be able to win that game. Panthers are not very good. We're not as bad as the Panthers, so we somehow have a better quarterback. I don't know how, but we do. And then we got the Raiders. I want to give us the win here so badly, you have no idea. But I'm going to give it to the Raiders here because we don't beat them. We barely beat them anymore. Last year we lost to them. The time before that we lost to them. I have never witnessed us beat the Raiders ever. We do not beat the Raiders. It just doesn't happen. We can't beat them for some reason. And then we got the Ravens on the road. We're not going to win twice. It's the Ravens. I don't think we're going to sweep them like we did the last couple of years. I think they're going to beat us this time. And then lastly, to finish off the season, we got the Browns. I think we'll get the win there. And that'll probably bring us to a record of about 9-8. That's my prediction. If you want to go based off of floor, to start with the floor, he gets swept by the entire AFC North. So that would add 3 losses. So they'd be at about 6-11. And then you could also give a loss against the Patriots and the Eagles. So if we're looking at floor here, we're looking at 4-13. Yeah, 4-13. Pretty bad. If we're talking about ceiling here, everything clicks. Kenny Pickett ends up being the real deal. Beat the Dolphins, beat the Raiders to go 11-6. I think that's the best case scenario for us. We have so many limitations just on the offensive end with how young the team is. Losing Big Ben, of course, matters a lot because even though he wasn't the best, he was a veteran leader and had lots of experience, so that matters, even though he wasn't actually that good anymore. So, that's the AFC North predictions. I finally got the video done. Sorry for the long wait, but here it is. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll try to get the next one out sooner rather than later. NFC West is up next. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.